It is easy for anyone to look at the current Nigeria state and question the efforts of the president. It's very easy. It's the easiest thing to do for that one. It's the easiest thing to do for that matter. But I won't dwell on what you or anybody think. I will let us take a journey on the facts. And based on the facts, you can then critique. But when you, before we get to the crux of the matter, when all you do, or when you call names, when you call leaders names, the Senile, and it's not the kind of person, he doesn't know what he's doing, it's probably his mind is not, is failing, and so on and so forth. When you say things like that, you ridicule the base of your own narrative. Because then it means you have nothing significant to contribute to the national narrative, and all you do is to ridicule the person who is actually doing something. And it's always a very terrible thing, so I don't encourage it. Now let us get back to what matters. In 2002, the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission came out with a report that warned against our overdependence and reliance on oil. 2002. That's about 14, 15 years ago. In 2003, they repeated the same warning. In 2012, Okonjo-Iweala repeated the warning. And in 2014, she noted, specifically November 2014, she warned that Nigeria was borrowing money to pay salaries, and that Nigerians should prepare for hard times come 2015. So it was all in the public domain, but some people don't read, so they don't know. And so if there has been a warning for that long, how come we failed for so long? Two events will exemplify why you don't understand what is happening in this country, and why it is important for you to always have access to knowledge and understanding to be able to create a narrative that attack the core of the problem. In 2008, 2009, during the global financial meltdown, Nigeria survived that financial meltdown because Obasanjo and Yar'Adua saved. And so when the banks were about collapsing, when they were going down, what happened? $10 billion was used to bail out failing banks and failing big businesses across Nigeria. And not just that, the federal government had enough money, dollar reserve, to boost the value of the naira. And so we dodged the bullets. Now, after dodging the bullet, what happened between 2000 and after Yar'Adua's death, 2009, 2010, and 2015? We had the biggest revenue drive in this country. At no time in the history of this country did we generate so much money from crude oil. Peace in the Niger Delta region. Oil selling above $100 per barrel. And what happened by 2015? When we prepared for election. An external reserve that was precisely in excess of $64 billion under Yar'Adua had collapsed to under $30 billion. It means that zero was saved. There was no improvement. In short, the external reserve was depleted massively. And that was not just it. Obasanjo established the SS crude account in 2004 from about $12 billion to about $2.01 billion when Buhari took over. And so you have a nation that whose population was on the increase, were massive. So many Nigerians were without jobs. The educational infrastructure was dead. No light. You can't tell me there was light. There was no light. 16 billion wasted in the electricity industry, the PSCN, all the privatization and so on and so forth. Nothing was done. And so you had a system that was practically holding on to straws to survive when Buhari took over. Now, I always like going into this history, into this specifics, so that we can have an idea of where we're coming from. And when he did, he had a choice. He never wanted to devalue the Nigerian currency, the Nigerian naira. But economists, those who felt they knew, said, no, you have to devalue. When you devalue, the dollar is going to come flowing out. And he asked the question then, and he can do the research yourself. What is the value? What is the essence and the value of the Nigerian naira? What is the benefit of devaluation to the Nigerian naira in an import-dependent economy? At least we are getting to see the answers today. Because it's simple. When you are dependent on imports, you have no control over the currency of trade. In this case, Nigeria depends on imports. And dollar is the currency of imports. So we cannot control the dollar. And because we cannot control the dollar, everything we do is dollar dependent. And so when you float or you devalue, what you do is, because you are dependent on import, your consumers, your people are dependent on import. And so whatever they earn is a product of the currency of import. And what happens therefore is that when you devalue, you stifle your population, you stifle the consumers. And so goods, the money they are holding becomes practically useless, like it became with Nigeria. They can no longer buy the goods that they used to buy. And the value of the dollar is flying. Why? Because it is not under your control. The man warned. The senile man warned. The fantastic economists, like you would call them, said, no, he was senile. He doesn't know what he's doing. Today we wonder who knew what he was doing then. And so you had a country that was practically in the state of collapse. And so we have a choice. We had a choice in 2015 to either continue the old ways and wait for this country to get bastardized and messed up and useless, or we do the right thing. And what was the right thing? The right thing was localize the Nigerian economy. In 2016 December, rather, we had the Made in Nigerian Christmas. Why? Because most of the rice that was consumed in Nigeria was produced in Nigeria. That is a man who believes that the only way for you to grow your economy is to go local. And when you go local, you encourage local manufacturing. And that is what the man has done since he came to power. Encourage those who can produce locally to boost the Nigerian economy. Because above all things, nothing else will do it. When did you hear talk about foreign direct investment? Somebody like you who has been in the bank. What are you talking about? What are they investing? Where are they investing in? Into what sector of the Nigerian economy? And so you realize that you had that problem. He came and said, look, we're going to go into agriculture, because that is the only thing that is ready-made, that is short time, that you cannot use to boost the economy in the immediate. Why? Because crude oil is collapsed practically in the market. It's collapsed in the world economy. Fracking is coming up. So many alternative sources of energies are coming up. And so you have to look at that, which can give you access to fund almost immediately. And so he did that. And then he went on massive saving structure. The single treasury account, is it not pathetic? The majority of the banks were dependent on government money to survive. So what business were they doing? What business have they been doing? Please, give me an insight. What business have banks been doing? Nothing. You depend on government money. You take government money to your account as deposit. You give government money back to government as loans. And what do? You are recycling credit, the same credit. What led to the collapse of the bank in 2008 was the same thing that banks have been doing even before, after that. Looting money from government. And so the banking sector was practically dead. And not just that. There was no manufacturing sector. And so he came and said, look, every money that belongs to government wants to have an account of his money. And he would draw money from TSA, and all of you shouted, oh, no, it's killing the economy. Which economy can grow without accountability? Nothing. No insight. That came and went. Fantastic, the TSA is doing well. Look at fiscal sanity. How many times has he bailed out the states? This is a man who is Senile, who does not know what he's doing. A man who, above all things, who has made full payment for the counterpart funding for the Kaduna Idu railway line, for the Lagos Ibadan railway line, for the Warri Itakpe railway line, for the General Electric is coming to fix our refineries. All the counterpart funding required of the Nigerian government to be paid for major projects to take off, the man has paid them. In an economy where the dollar, where the naira, where the imports, what do you call it, where our crude oil is selling at just about $50 per barrel. So he's doing so much more than those who had knowledge of the supposed economy, and the man is senile, or the man does not know what he's doing. And one of the narratives people have always used, we come from whether you're talking about the economy side, talking about the social side, talking about the security side, look at what has happened with Boko Haram. Look at the Kaduna state we're talking about. I grew up in Kaduna, for goodness sake. Kaduna probably is based on so many of us. And the first crisis we had in Kaduna was in 1991. So the Kaduna crisis and the Kaduna problems have been there for close to 30 years or more. And what has been the solution? This guy decided that the first thing first is to ensure that there is relative peace in the region. There are two mobile battalion units in the region, comprising of close to 7,000 soldiers. Air support, air surveillance operations. Everything that has been done so far after the Kaduna incident is the most robust response any government has ever done in this country. This guy is senile, for goodness sake. Why would he be thinking national? Why would he be thinking of the things that can make this country better? You see, the problem I have with a lot of guys that critique is a critique without facts. That's what they do. Talk about the anti-corruption war. The efforts that have been made in the anti-corruption war today, as we speak, are the most robust that have been made by any government in this country. But no. We want a fast approach to getting things done. The miracle mindset, the Yahoo mindset. That has destroyed the core of the Nigerian moral capacity. It is messing up our minds. It is messing up our approach. It is messing up our thought process. And so you believe that miracles can be done. In 2008, during the global financial meltdown, the United States elected President Barack Obama. He had Treasury Assets Relief Program, TAP, where the toxic assets of the banks was taken over by the US government and taxpayers' money. Not just that, he was handed $787 billion as stimulus pack. So the government, the United States people gave him $707 billion to stimulate the economy. And not just that, they gave him, they helped him, the central bank helped him with TAP, Treasury Assets Relief Program. Now, even with those, he lost the midterm election in 2010 because it was not easier. What was the central team in 2010 midterm election in the US that he lost when he lost the House of Representatives? And he almost lost the Senate, if not for the fact that they had some Trump-like senators then America still had some sense. What was the message? The economy was not working. Obama doesn't know what he's doing. Today, before he handed over one of the most robust economy to Donald Trump. After 8 years, that economy is beginning to do well. Because it went local. Because manufacturing went local. Because manufacturing has subsidies. And that's exactly what President Muhammadu Buhari has been doing. You want to import cars, you don't want to produce cars. Peugeot Automobile Company of Nigeria was set up in 1976 so that Nigeria can become a car-producing country. 1976, 40 years ago. Are we able to produce one car in this country today? No, because of the habit of importation. And so somebody has come to you and said, I'm going to stop you from importing cars through the land borders. If you're interested in building car assembly plants, come and build them in Nigeria and begin to manufacture cars in Nigeria here. It's a senile mind, doesn't know what to do, doesn't understand the economy. When is it going to be the time that this country is going to be ripe for us to have a productive economy? We don't just critique for the sake of criticism. We critique based on understanding of the facts. Now all of a sudden, because Buhari is Hausa Fulani, every problem in Nigeria is a Hausa Fulani problem. All the communal issues in this country are Hausa Fulani issues. It is your hatred for the Fulani man that has made every problem in this country a Fulani problem. Are you aware that since between October and now, this country has added more than $3 billion to our external reserve? And when they took over to now, we have added over $500 million to our SS crude account. Do you know what that means? For anybody who's working in the banking sector, it gives you the capacity to draw in investors because they know that you have an understanding of what it takes to save. And so people can begin to invest in your country. People can begin to trust what you're doing. Prudency is returning to the system. People are becoming accountable. I've crisscrossed every aspect of this country, and you begin to see that people are actually getting to work. Major infrastructure projects are ongoing, and people will wake up and tell you that nothing is happening because you sit down on Facebook. That's what we do. Sit down on social media and begin to critique without getting to the street to understand and see what is happening. Our mentality is ridiculing our capacity as humans. Our mentality is making us sound so intolerant, so uneducated, so incapable of reasoning, because we see that the such ways can no longer work in this country, and we don't like it. Who has miracle ever worked for without work? Please, even St. Paul said it. Show me a man. That is popular quote. Faith without work is dead. This is the problem. Until and unless we begin to understand as a people that if we don't work to fix this country, and it's going to be hard, nobody will fix it. We will never understand why we are failing. Never.